Roger Clemens is acquitted on all counts of lying to Congress about his steroid use. Really? Hey everybody, it's Paulie. Welcome back to This Week in Red, where we're talking all things Red Sox and Major League Baseball. I wanted to wait until the conclusion of the Roger Clemens trial, in which he was accused of lying to Congress about his steroid use, to comment on it myself. And now that the trial's over, and Clemens has been acquitted on all counts, the only thing I can say is that the U.S. government has got to stop wasting its time sticking its nose into steroid-related issues in baseball, because it never works out. They've been embarrassed yet again. They need to concentrate with their 9% approval rating on fixing the problems of this country and not getting involved in Major League Baseball's affairs. This is something that baseball should have adjudicated itself, and it's very clear that this not guilty verdict may not be a reflection on whether Clemens was actually guilty or not, but I think it might be a message that is sent by the jury to the government saying, you know what, you need to stay out of this stuff. It's not your area of concern, so don't worry about it. Let the sport handle itself. Let it clean itself up. Now, I'm not sure the sport's capable of it with an 80-something-year-old commissioner in Bud Selig, but that's an issue for another day. But as for Clemens, you can tell me until you're blue in the face that this guy is not guilty. Listen, the bottom line is, if this guy's not a steroid user, I don't know who in baseball is. This is another guy, like Rafael Palmeiro, that got up in front of Congress and pointed his finger at him and said, I never took steroids. Well, guess what? There's a pretty good probability that they proved Palmeiro took steroids, and I throw Clemens into the same box with Palmeiro. Both these guys are arrogant, particularly Clemens. And you know what? If you're truly innocent about something, you should try to defend yourself to the hilt, but not to the point of arrogance. And I think Clemens crossed the arrogance line long ago. To me, if you think about what Roger Clemens' career was when Dan Duquette made the famous twilight of his career comment at the end of his Red Sox career near the end of the 90s, and what he looked like in a Yankee uniform years later pitching, to me it's a hell of a coincidence that Clemens was so bad at the end of his Red Sox career, and then suddenly when he was traded to Toronto or signed as a free agent with Toronto, had this revival in which he went on to have a great second half of his career. You really think that was due to natural ability? Did he really pick it up that fast after losing it in Boston at the end of his career? I say the answer is no, and that's why I think Clemens is guilty, and I think he did use steroids. But again, I think the jury's point was, hey, Congress, you need to stay out of these affairs. Let baseball handle it itself. And I think that's why Roger Clemens got acquitted. I don't think it was because he didn't take steroids. I think he did lie to Congress. I just think there was too many variables, and the reasonable doubt factor, of course, came into it. And the jury felt that there just wasn't enough proof and enough reasonable evidence saying that Clemens was guilty, and so they had to go with the not guilty verdict. So I think the jury, was sending a message that had nothing to do with Clemens himself. I think it had to do with keeping the government's nose out of baseball's affairs. So what do you guys think about the Roger Clemens verdict? What are your thoughts on the Rocket being acquitted? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends about This Week in Red.